And of course, this is WHKM KAGY Gospel Radio. I'm your host, Herman Magic Charles, the Gospel Magic Voice of KAGY 1510 AM, 97.9 FM, and WHKMradio.com, anywhere else in the world. And of course, this morning, we have some very, very special guests in the house, Brother Matt Dennis and Brother Charles Marshall. And of course, it's A2Innola.com is the website.
A2I.
A2I, okay, I got that. A2I, and of course, they are Alternative to Incarceration Incorporated. And y'all got to tell us about that this morning. First of all, introduce yourself to our audience.
Good morning. My name is Charles Marshall. I'm the Executive Director of A2I, better known as Alternative to Incarceration Online.com. I'll turn to Matt.
My name is Matt Dennis, and I am the Operations Director for Alternative to Incarceration.
Okay, when you say Alternative to Incarceration, what basically that's talking about? That's
we're actually offering up a tool for judges to use in their justice system. We are asking judges to set lower bonds on people who are about to be in a pretrial release and put them into our program whereby they can function as an individual and not have the big high bonds to get out of jail. We are moving from the appearance bail bonds into the performance end of the bail bonding business.
I've been working for 23 years with Mr. Charles, and we've spent all 23 of those years dealing with people who are stuck in jail and need a way out. We've seen it all. We've seen people that don't belong there, people that do belong there, people that you're really not sure about. But we've spent all 23 years working to make sure that they go to court. That if they have problems that we can help them with, we help them. It's confusing when it comes to court. People don't know where to go, when to go. They don't understand what does this mean when they said this. And we spend a lot of time talking to people, working them through the program, getting them through the system, and getting them out of the system as quick as we can. Unfortunately, sometimes that requires, people go to jail sometimes. They don't do right. The city of New Orleans has had a program in place for the last couple of years, a GPS program, where they're tracking people with the sheriff's department. And the problem with the sheriff's department doing that is he's conflicted. He has issues. I mean, he gets paid X amount of dollars to keep a person in jail during the day. He has almost no risk with that because they're locked up. What are they going to do? The press can't see it. No one can see it. When the person is released on a bracelet, the sheriff is conflicted because he gets a fraction of that money every day. He gets just $14 a day versus $70-some a day, and he assumes all the risk because if that guy does one thing wrong on that bracelet, he gets blamed. And really, is it his fault? The guy's released, he's incarcerated because he's wearing this bracelet, he does something wrong. So the sheriff's in a position where, what am I going to do? I get paid less and I assume more risk. So he doesn't want to be part of the program, and he keeps getting burnt by the program. The other problem that the sheriff has is we have a city that has out of control crime. And you have a program that requires one officer for every 10 people. And a city that can't afford one officer for every 3,000 people. So why would you build a program that is so special that doesn't include special people? It could be anybody stuck in the system wearing a bracelet to the sheriff. It doesn't have to be the notorious guy. He's probably not going to get out. It's going to be regular people that probably shouldn't be wearing that bracelet in the first place to the sheriff. So the sheriff has asked to be let go. He doesn't want to do that program, and it makes sense that the sheriff doesn't do that program because of the conflicts that are associated with it. So Mr. Charles, in his great wisdom, said, we need to do something because we're being encroached on in our industry. By nature, we are bail bondsmen. That's what we spent the better part of 23 years doing. People would know it from Steve's Bail Bonds because it's the oldest bail bonds company in the city. Mr. Charles worked there with Mr. Steve for years and years and years, and way longer than me. So it was time to do something that was constructive, something that would help, and it was something that we already do. But what we can't let happen is groups come into the city and get paid $700,000 to tell the court, hey, this guy's not a risk to reoffend or a risk to fail to appear, and then be wrong. And then nothing happened. And that's what the city does right now with a group called the Vera Institute. They give them $700,000 a year to rate people in jail. And they rated a Keene Scott, the Mother's Day shooter, a 3.
Okay.
Before he shot 19 people. And a 6 after he shot 19 people out of 24.
My.
Okay, and the reason for that is because it doesn't flex. One thing you can't do is use what a guy's in jail for against him when you're rating him for risk. So Ted Bundy, you can't use those 24 women against him. But Ted Bundy is a college graduate with a job, owns a home. He's a stellar student. So he kills 24 people, gets rated by Vera, becomes a 3 after killing 24 people because of the nature of the rating matrix. This program is being paid by the city to do this. They rated the guy that killed Darrell Holloway just weeks before that for a domestic violence case. They rated him low risk to reoffend for domestic violence. And the kid is nothing but domestic violence. They rated him low risk to fail to appear, and he has a history of escapes. They couldn't have been more wrong. But this program receives $700,000 a year. They have no responsibility for anything they do when they're wrong. And it's just money that could be spent somewhere else. There's a million different places a city can spend money. It doesn't need to spend it there. Our program does not eat one nickel of city money or taxpayer money or anything else. It is completely, if it doesn't work, it's because of us, and it's us who pay.
So that's why we said we moved to the from the appearance to the performance part of the bail bonding business. We go in, we ask the judges to set low bonds on the defendant as opposed to the big high bonds that they were normally setting. Set low bonds on the defendants, and at that point, it frees the defendant with his money to employ a lawyer. He's able to make a low bond to get out of jail. He's put on our bracelet, and he pays us a minimum amount of money per month.
A lot less than he would pay for a bond.
A lot less than he would pay for a bond.
Because what's more important? I mean, first of all, you should only need a bond if your word is no good. Yeah. Everybody has 2 things to their name, their word and their assets. And the only time we should be in play is when your word is no longer any good. Yeah. So, this first offense and things like that, people need to be let go. They need to be sent home so they can handle their affairs. They don't need to be broke. When you get a $50,000, when the mayor says a gun charge across the board should be $30,000, I kind of get what he means, but does he understand what he's saying? Because there's a whole lot of people that are going to fall into that little hole that it shouldn't be $30,000. So that blanket statement doesn't work. It makes people feel good, but when it comes to the mechanics on the street, it doesn't work because you just broke an entire family, an entire network. Then this defendant goes to court in a few weeks, and the judge says, "Sir, you afforded bond. You can afford a lawyer." When he doesn't come back with that lawyer at his next appearance, the cycle starts over. The bond doesn't go lower; it gets bigger, and that makes no sense. The court has no other alternative at this point but to set dollar amounts to determine your risk. If we can eliminate, if we can give them some security. He didn't follow instructions.
No problem. Go ahead.
If the court wants security, that's what the dollar amount is. When they get a bail bondsman involved, he's providing a dollar promise to the court that he's going to perform. He's going to make this person go to court, or he's going to pay this dollar amount. Okay, and it's the whole bond amount. The court needs that. That's the only motivator to make sure this thing works. To remove that dollar amount, you have to replace it with another form of security that they can touch, that they can feel. And that's what this program does. It gives them an alternative to setting huge bonds, because we can promise you're going to court wearing this device.
Okay, let's step back for a little bit. You say that there's an organization here getting $700,000 a year.
Yes.
For basically doing nothing.
Rating.
And look, this is an internet thing. So that means you understand when I say this. YouTube, Vera Truth. We have a ton of videos there. It shows you documentation. It takes you through the steps. It shows you their funding. The guy that runs the program makes $184,000 a year of your money. Okay? They send tons of money to New York to pay for databases. And I'm telling you, you got a pretty nice system here. Look at their database. You'd laugh. I even make a statement in one of the videos. This could have been made by high schoolers. My 13-year-olds can make this, okay?
Yeah.
So it's silly what we're spending this money on. It's a feel-good thing, and it's wrong. It's wrong to do to people, and it's misleading.
So who actually picked the people that they are going to pay this $700,000 a year to?
Well, they came down. They're an old group. They're from New York. They're called the Vera Institute. And look, they have great programs that they do. They do some prison intervention, some homeless stuff, great stuff that they do in New York. But they've gotten into this overcrowded jail thing, which is an issue. We have to fix the overcrowded jail thing, but it's not by pretending that it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
That one of their biggest statements is, that they've reduced the number of incarceration hours or days in a system, but that's not what they're hired to do. So, but who brought them here? They were brought here through this best practices idea, and they came in under they literally made a request and invited the Criminal Justice Committee for the City of New Orleans to go to Destin, Florida, and sit on a beach, and came out of it with a contract for the city. Okay, and it's sad that happened, and we've pointed that out before, and they've done nothing about it. And they literally took our city leaders on a vacation in Florida and came back with a contract to do this. And there's nothing at the end of this contract that guarantees they perform, and they've never been audited. Because remember, their job is to assess risk for failure to appear or failure to reoffend. So you need to watch every single person that they've ever looked at through to the end of their court case.
Yeah, I think you said they only have like one person watching 300, 3,000.
Well, the ratio may be a little better than that.
Our police ratio, our person to police ratio.
Yeah.
The city, I don't know what the city of New Orleans' actual number is, but the average is anywhere from 1,500 to 2,500 per policeman in big cities.
Now, I think that a problem, because of people that I've talked to and people that have talked to me, I think that another problem is the fact that they got guys that get picked up because they didn't go and pay a traffic ticket.
Correct.
And they keep them incarcerated 45 days.
Yeah. Well, heretofore the courts have always gotten guys who don't go to court. When they do pick them up, they slam a big bond on them. They have to make the bond. They may lose their jobs while they're
well, that's what I'm saying.
Incarcerated.
Yeah.
And so this is what we're about. We're trying to get the judges to realize that they don't have to do that. When they set a big bond on the guy, it doesn't mean that he's going to necessarily get out of jail and come back and go to court. So consequently, if we put him on an ankle monitor, then we assure them that he's going to appear back in court when it's time for him to appear. But we also ask them to set a low bond on that person so they can get out of jail.
But on a traffic and things like that, they should just come out of jail on their own.
Right.
And you're right. We have a lot of problems where police go in and not just traffic, but misdemeanor. Just misdemeanor in a whole box. And it could be anything from, if you're, like I said, I told you this in the office, if you're walking on Hano property and your ID doesn't say Hano, that's criminal trespassing.
Right.
And that's a charge. That's a summons. That could be an arrest. And if you don't go to court, that can lead to you being arrested for failure to appear. But you can't. So you kind of get stuck in this trick where, we don't want the police spending their time arresting city charges. Right. Well, why do you have the city charges? Why are you making the arrest in the first place? You certainly can't make the arrest and then pretend it didn't happen, because you'll break the system. If the system doesn't make you pay for what they say you've done wrong, then the system doesn't work. So you can't just take it and say, well, it's traffic and we don't want to fool with you, so we got to let you go. Right. You got to come to a resolution, or only the good people of the country get stuck paying. Everybody that's trying to do right and wakes up in the morning, goes to work every day, that has to pay their traffic tickets, they get stuck paying for the ones that won't. So we got to have a system. We got to get rid of some of these stupid laws. Why did we just send 24 code enforcement officers all over the West Bank looking at code enforcement? For what? I mean, is this really necessary? There's some code enforcement that is necessary, but how much of what they're doing is really, really necessary, or how much of it's just generating a new pool of people to create revenue? Because that's what the municipal court system does. It creates a revenue stream for the city. So they're going to arrest you by summons. They're going to get you into court. They're going to fine you. And if you pay your fine, the city earned its money. And if you didn't, they're in a process of eliminating the ones that won't pay by ignoring them. And that's bad for all of us that do right every day. We got to get rid of the laws. The laws that are burdening people are the problem, not the fact that the city's spending too much time arresting misdemeanors. Get rid of the silly misdemeanors.
How old are those laws?
Some of them are forever. It depends. Look, I know it's gospel, but they have a crimes against nature charge, which,
Yeah.
What kind of society are we in? Either we accept or we don't accept, but we're taking a person that could go to jail for being a prostitute. She doesn't necessarily have to be a prostitute. She could just be a guy dressed like a prostitute, and he's charged with crimes against nature. I'm not sure that any of that makes any sense in the world we live in today. Why would we spend our resources there? Some people have a strange way of thinking, and I don't know that we should police that.
And Magic, if I could say too, three of the things that stand out to me about what A2I NOLA is doing, A2INOLA.com. I would want all of the listeners to really go to that website, and what we're wanting to do is actually create this conversation, because one of the things that the city is battling with right now, the public defender's office is damn near bankrupt.
Absolutely.
And there's a burden there. And the reason why so many of the folk that are locked up, part of the problem of not being able to afford an attorney is with bonds and high bonds.
They're spending the money into bonding
up.
Right.
So the approach that A2I
NOLA
is doing is not only helping that they'll be able to help relieve that type of strain, because they'll put more money back in these folk pockets where they might be able to afford an attorney.
Right.
Then on top of that, the overcrowding of the jails
We're
as
reducing the jail population.
And unfortunately, in terms of my own personal experience, it's a blessing that we have folk that are in business. Steve Bellbond, these folk are doing this out of the necessity of seeing they want to help. They do plenty of business. They're good folk. But the fact that they've put something together because they're on the other side of it and seeing it, that they'll be able to help solve an issue. Look like the phones are blowing up now about it. A2INOLA.com.
Yes.
And I just appreciate the fact that even after speaking with you guys about it, things that I was not aware of.
Right.
A lot of these things are not of concern to you unless a loved one's locked up or you yourself becomes locked up, and then you're a part of this vicious cycle.
Exactly.
So I appreciate the fact that you guys being aware of it is putting it out for folk to really understand it,
Yeah, we're really out there to try to help defend it. There are many cases, for example, if some guy misses court, he goes back, he's arrested, the judge slams him with a big bond to put him back in jail. He possibly has a job, he has a family. If he's got a big high bond, he can't make the bond, he stays in jail, loses his job, possibly his family. And that's what we're trying to prevent.
Now, he may have missed court for a good reason, but the system moves so fast it doesn't have time to listen. He doesn't have his own lawyer because he spent all of his money on a bondsman. Exactly. So he's stuck in this vortex he can't get out of. Right. And the truth is, you have to be able to walk over there and give something to the judge to hold in their hand and say, all right, I don't need this to be big.
Right.
Go. And you know what? One good thing in the defense of the judges, for the most part, they are accepting this. They're not responsible for this Vera stuff.
Right.
The judges are very against it. They think it's silly.
And this is a tool.
This is a tool.
How many people would you guys estimate that's incarcerated right now that shouldn't be because it would basically be you guys could go in, and if they would listen to you all and follow your instructions and what you have been doing for a minute now, how many would you estimate? Out of 100%, how many you estimate that should be out if they let you guys come in, you understand, and do what needs to be done to free them to go back to their jobs and go back to their families? Because, like I say, people talk to me all the time.
Vera's own numbers, the Vera Institute's numbers. One of the things that they've done is gone over that jail and said, we believe all of these people are low risk. And what their statement is, anybody that's rated 6 or under should be released today. Remember, Akeem Scott, the Mother's Day shooter, by their ratings is 6. But if you keep that in mind, they're saying that's 60% of the jail. Okay? I think it's a better answer to say, look, if they belong there, every single one of us know it. You do, I do, the police do, the community does. Don't let them out. Let the rest of them go. Right. You should not have to be stuck in that jail in the process of defending yourself. I've, as a 23-year guy of this business, I am still confused how we're innocent until proven guilty. If from day one you're paying the piper, and none of it's refundable. So, I mean, an innocent man gets his money back, doesn't he?
And I know you said something.
And I'm a bondsman saying this.
I know you said something earlier, and it kind of stuck with me. that the fact that the sheriff get paid $70 a day for each person that's incarcerated.
It's business.
That's right.
It's a business to be free or to be innocent until proven guilty. That's a hell of a tax.
Yeah. So I mean, $70 a day. If I stand 100 days, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know,
that's per head.
Per
and that's if you're healthy.
Yeah.
God help us if you're not healthy. If you need medical or mental treatment,
that's more than that.
Okay.
Oh, it's way more than that.
Oh, okay.
And now you have to go back and say, what's that prison population of that that needs some kind of medical? I'm going to tell you that number is going to be huge because there's a benefit in jail to being sick.
Okay. I want to ask this question. I don't know when the new facility is going to open. I don't know when because it's I know I've been watching the news. I guess like everybody else, and they're saying that they want the sheriff to give them a certain this and a certain that, and then they're giving the money until then. They holding the money off him, and so now, what do you suppose they are going to do when the new facility open up? What do you suppose they're going to do with the old facility? Because for what I understand, they say it's asbestos and all that.
That's right.
Is within the walls. And so are they going to tear it down?
They're supposed to. The agreement requires them to. Will they or not is the question. Because, you got a side of this argument that wants to say, that's too small of a jail. Just like your kid wants everything on the candy store shelf. And it's our job to teach them, no, you can't have it.
Yeah, because I understand they got...
Okay, well, our adult leaders... They want
6 guys in one cell.
In one cell,
yeah.
18.
Yeah.
Our adult leaders want everything on the shelf.
It's more.
Wow, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, they can't have everything on the shelf. You can't just say we need a smaller jail without making sure that's what the city needs. One of the problems they're having today with the crime is because of the way they're handling the people being released. They have to be smarter with the way they handle the jail, and then the problems will resolve themselves. They'll be able to afford and use that 1,400-bed jail. They will not need the rest of those jails if they do this smart. And the way to do it smart is to get involved like this. Lower the bonds. Bring up the level of responsibility. Hold somebody accountable. Let's quit hearing about the pizza killer and it being the judge's fault or the sheriff's fault or this guy's fault. Why don't we just get it done? Instead of the arguing.
And Magic, I'm very excited about the fact that for your listeners and for myself included, this gives us a tool. We're being educated. If you don't know that there's an option, an alternative, then you just wind up like everybody else talking about the problem. But when somebody comes in and says, well, look, this is a solution. This is an alternative. And so we really thank you again. And I want to just continue to bring this to the listeners. A2INOLA.com. Alternative to Incarceration is a tool. We want to educate as many listeners. That way they know about it. And all of a sudden here, you're talking to judges and other folk, and they're hearing about it. So that's the main goal this morning, is to just make sure we're putting something out there for them to become more educated about it, and then stop over at Steve Bellbond, good folk over there, and see him, and they'll discuss further with him about
well, actually, just want to clarify that now, because the office may be next door to Steve Bellbond's, but we're not in that Steve Bellbond's office. It's separate and apart, and I want everybody to know that.
And that proximity is because my friend came out of retirement and stole me away from Steve Bellbond's to join us.
So we actually are separate from the bail bonding business. Don't get it. We don't want anybody to get that twisted, okay? And in fact, the judges even want to know that. So there's no connection. Okay.
And what it does, though, is our program works with bonding companies. Is what it does. We work not just with Steve's bail bonds, but all the bonding companies.
Exactly.
And we provide them the service. And again, people would say, wait, bondsmen are saying they want bonds lowered. Yes. We don't want people owing us a ton of money in a bonding business. We want the bond over and done with when it's written. But they've gotten it to where $100,000, the guy's still getting out. He's just going to pay everything he has to people for the next year. And
and you talked earlier about this is gospel and this is a gospel station, which it is a gospel station. But the thing about KGY and WHKM, we as real as possible. So say it like you want to say it. The people that's listening understand and know me 40 plus years now that I am real as it get in radio. I'm going to say this. because once again, I've been down and through the court with some friends, and I watch the system and how it operates and how it handles things, and I think that really and truly, the people that's down there, including a lot of the judges, they are really and truly keeping something 100-year-old still going. It's the same system. The system never changed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So by the system never changing.
That's right.
Okay? And what's really happening in New Orleans,
Yes.
and this is my home, you understand? It's sad to say, but it's true what I'm about to say. One thing I learned about being a biblical person and following God's word. He say, tell them the truth, and the truth shall make them free.
Right.
Not only that, you understand? I'm steadfast and unmovable. It's not about what people are going to say about me. It's not even about what people might try to do to me or to try to intimidate me. You can't intimidate me, okay? Because I know God, and once you know God, everything else is little.
Right.
But from what I see, when I go down there, and I see these young people, mainly, I'm going to be as straight as I can, mainly these young brothers. I'm going to tell you something. Sometimes I go and sit in East Coast just to watch. It's sad.
It is.
Because you know what? I see a very few, okay, Caucasian Americans in that system come in that courthouse. It's always my people.
Right.
Now, that being said, and we talked about the fact that you got 7 or 8 in one cell right now, and it's overcrowded. That means with the system 100 years old and still operating like it's operating, and you guys with your organization is trying to change this because you know it's old, it's outdated, and it need to be changed because there's some young people that's losing their job right now that shouldn't have been there in the first place.
Right.
You understand? For all those days, like I say, it might have been for stopping for, they didn't go to court for a traffic ticket because they might have been working in Chicago with the company that they work for and couldn't get back here for that. Right. Now, really and truly, what's going on, what I see in New Orleans, in the criminal justice system, it's really and truly, to me, my opinion, you understand, it's like a modern type slavery. In the real sense.
And you're right. That's why we've come along to offer up A2I, which would help some of the brothers who have jobs, who have families, to be able to get out of jail and do their jobs. Of course, they're wearing an ankle bracelet, but at the same time, we know for 24/7 where they are, what they're doing, and that's why we can go to the judges and say, listen, we would ask that you take this defendant and put him on our program. We know that you may want to know where he is, what he's doing, how he's doing, and we can give you that information within every 24 hours. And also, we offer up to the judges the fact that they can get a username and an ID and go online and find out about that same defendant the same way we can do it.
That's awesome.
You know,
they don't have to just rely on someone else's word.
On somebody else's
word. They can see it
word.
with their own eyes. You know, I'm going to say one thing. It's not just New Orleans. I operate all over the country. Every big city in the country we operate in. That's the entire nation.
Right.
Okay. We have, you know, it's a control. I'm going to tell you a quick story from last fall. Charles can tell you this. The placement of our office, we're in a unique place. We get to see a lot of strange things. And standing there, and I'm on the phone with my son, and a girl across the street is being pummeled by 5 guys. And I mean pummeled. They had her by her braids, and they had her bent over, and they were trying to stuff her in a car. Okay? And, you know, I got a bit aggravated. I've been on that street for a long time, very accustomed to 2-lane and broad. And I yelled out, what the hell is wrong with you people? Why won't you help her? I wasn't yelling at the guys beating the girl. You knew what their problem was. It's the people standing around. All right, so I'm a bit angry about this, and I go out there and I stop him, and I grab the guy, and I physically keep the bad guy there. The guy who ends up getting 45 years. This is a notorious guy in the city who's been hurting and killing people for a long time, and no one would help. And you know when those police showed up, you know the first person they grabbed?
Me.
Yeah,
you know what for? You know what the first reason he told me was? I said, why would you arrest me? He said, it's not your business. You should have stayed out of it. I'm sorry. That's not where I come from. No. I will stand with my neighbor. I do not care what threats you give me. This city holds you down. It holds everybody in it down. You know who came to my rescue? black people.
That's right.
I got surrounded by little old ladies, by old guys, by young guys, by Mama D's son. And that's who saved me.
Yeah, everybody knows that.
Everybody know Mama D.
That's who saved me.
Yeah.
Those police were determined to take me to jail
Right.
for getting involved. That's what's wrong with these cities. Where I come from, if you rob my house, me and my neighbors show up with bats to take care of you. The police take a report. In this city, they call it a riot. They put on gas masks. They beat everybody with batons, and the bad guy gets away. And that makes no sense to me. But it's every city in the country that operates this way. How could anybody tell me I don't have a right to protect myself? The number one worst thing you could do in this city is protect yourself, because you will go to jail. And that's a shame. And that's what's wrong with our system. They got to get off of our throats.
So people wanting to contact you all,
Yes.
give them the information on how they could contact you all.
Okay, they can go online. They can go to A2I. It's A2I NOLA online.
No, it's A2IOnline.com
A2I
or
online.
A2I NOLA. Either one works.
Right, either one works. And they can also call 504 451 7. I'm sorry.
You're giving yourself
36. I'm gonna give my cell phone number. 451
100,000 people gonna call you.
504 367 0008.
Say that again.
Okay, the number is 504 367 0008. That's a direct line to any questions that they may have.
And I've been able to pull it up very easy.
Yes.
A2INOLA.
Yes.
.com.
A2INOLA.com is the easiest way. If
And
you're in
then-
Louisiana, if not,
Well-
A2I Online, same thing.
We had to go online because we're moving from state to state.
Absolutely.
And we find that a lot of states don't like things about New Orleans,
I
unfortunately.
understand.
So we go A2IOnline.com. That's why the difference.
But you know what? No.
For New Orleans, it's A2INOLA.com.
A2I
Yeah, but remember this. This
Either one
starts
will
in New
work.
Orleans. This started here.
Yes.
New Orleans needs something good to come out of it, and we are talking all over the country. And believe it or not, many in the criminal justice system want this. They need this. They need to back away from this industrial prison complex we've built and stop this mill, because that's what we have. That's all we have. We are chewing up every person in this country and trying to tag and release them, and it's a shame. We have to stop.
And especially for the poor, for those that are struggling the most,
Yes.
and are coming from a social demographic that kind of already have you down.
Yes.
When you have the strain on you to go through the system, it's worse.
The system's, currently it's a vortex.
It absolutely does not.
You get that ticket, and that just builds.
And when I tell you that we are on the move, I mean, we're moving different states. We're in Michigan,
New York,
we're in
New
New
Jersey,
York, New Jersey,
Pennsylvania, Louisiana,
we
Texas,
just started
Mississippi,
in Oklahoma. We got a big, vast majority, a lot of people in Oklahoma that are interested. So we're on the move in different states.
So how successful so far have y'all been in New Orleans?
In New Orleans, we have a clientele. We have.
Well, I can give you some numbers.
some numbers.
I'll give you
this
some.
Is the this
I'll
is
give
the
you some numbers
statistician here.
No, it's
Yes.
real simple. It's we officially launched our program January the 1st of this year. That was the kickoff date of our program. To this date, we've had 0 people cut their bracelets off.
Right.
We've had 0 people fail to appear in court. Okay. Just in contrast, the city's current program under Marlon Gussman. And again, I do not blame Marlon Gussman. Okay. This is not his fault. This is the way they've set it up's fault. They need to tear it down. Okay. But Marlon Gussman's had nearly a dozen bracelets cut off. Okay. In fact, the last one that cut his bracelet off came and turned himself into me. And when I asked him why he cut the sheriff's off, he said it's because he didn't have yours on. The reason the sheriff has equipment that's faulty. It's bad equipment. Our equipment is better. The people are being dealt with not by police, so they're not as threatened. So it's easier to communicate back and forth. We have a little bit more flexibility because a deputy is like, no, you're not doing it. You got to go to jail. Get in. It's easy for him. He don't care. It's nothing. It's just a day at the job for him. We have to interact with the families. The police don't interact with the. They take him out of his cell. They set him in a chair. They put it on his leg, and he's gone. I talked to your mom first. I got to know your mom. I got to know your girlfriend. I can't sit there and look at them in the face if I'm going to sit here and lie to you. If you're going to be wrong, we're going to deal with you. If you're going to be right, you'll never hear from us. Simple as that. So we have absolutely not one person that has done anything wrong. I take that back. We had one gentleman who apparently decided that crime was his nature and committed a crime while wearing an electronic tracking device.
Okay.
We know common sense is not in his nature either.
Right.
Okay, so I can't answer for him, but he made a decision to rob people while wearing a device, and they are now holding the proof that he did it.
Right.
Okay, so the system works both ways. We've also been able to notify 3 different victims that their person who is troubling them is getting close to them, and have them take action to move away and stop the person who is about to violate a protective order, get him to stop and think about what he was doing and go back to where he belongs. Okay, so it works in multiple levels.
We're also compassionate about the fact that if we have somebody on the bracelet, we try to keep them on. Case in point, on just yesterday, the guys,
10:30 at night.
We had a guy on the bracelet. His indemnity came in and said that the guy's a flight risk. He wanted him put back in jail.
Normally, that's it. He goes to jail.
He normally goes back to jail. But we went above and beyond that and contacted his family, his mother.
Okay, but you left at 5.
I left.
Okay,
early,
Will didn't leave till 10:30 last night.
Okay.
So it went above and beyond and beyond and beyond and beyond
Got
to
it.
make sure that this guy didn't go to jail, because we didn't see what the other guy had to say.
Right.
We didn't agree with him. I believe that fella did not need to go to jail. It was someone being vindictive.
Right.
And the system is designed to put him in jail and say to hell with it. We're designed to take care of it.
Okay. Once again, I want to thank you for taking time out from your busy schedule to come in.
Yes, sir.
Because I know that this is something that's really needed and the people need to know. And I hope that other stations take time out to bring you guys in to basically tell everybody what you're doing and to really combat this mass incarceration, because that's what it is. And I say again that things that you guys are doing is really and truly a blessing and a help to the community, because I know some young brothers that lost their job because they they brought me in because I forgot to go to court for the ticket because I was so busy working 14 hours a day until I really didn't check my watch to see that what date my day was, because I was basically trying to continue these 14 hours and make sure I can supply my family with what they needed, stuff like that. And the guy go in, he keep the guy on 10, 20 days.
Right.
And he come out, now he done lost his job and everything. So
probably his family.
Yeah, so it's a great thing that you all are doing, and I want to say once again, I'm honored that you all took time out from the busy schedule, because I know you're busy.
Yeah.
I know you're busy in New Orleans.
Yeah. But just before you end, I want to say to you that I heard you allude to something earlier. I just want you to know that at my church, New Birth Baptist Church, I am a deacon, and I had my pastor. I called him this morning, Reverend Isaac Stewart, to let him know that I'd be on the radio to listen in and call some of his friends. So I know they're out there listening.
Okay, because your phone was ringing.
My phone was ringing.
You forgot to put it on vibration. So we recording this, and when I play it back,
it's going to be a phone ringing.
When y'all hear a phone, that
was you.
That's the deacon's phone.
It's the deacon phone.
Mr. Magic, we thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Very much. Thank you.
And no problem, man. And once again, I'm going to invite y'all back to give us an update and progress on what's taking place. And one more thing before I let you all go. What do you really think? Because I heard you say that the judges don't even like the system the way it's set up in this category. But what do you think is going to take the changes? You got to vote some people in that
well
information.
Vote some people out.
We're actually on the move, even as far as the judges are concerned, because we had a meeting several weeks ago with all of the municipal judges. We were at their en banc meeting, and they were in favor of what we're doing. Awesome. They are going to start using us at municipal court. We've been slated to go before the judges, magistrate judges. We've been there like 3 times already, but they had to cancel us due to other businesses they had.
I'll tell you how long it'll last. To the end of an audit. You simply take the people that were assessed by the Vera Institute, their names and dates, and follow them through to the end of their case. If they say they're saving us money, it'll prove itself out in an audit. End of discussion. Until that happens, it's not going to end. The city's going to keep pumping money in because people don't get how deep this is, and they're going to feel good about it. But the truth is, they're hurting the city, and they're hurting the people of this city because at $700,000, it could go other places.
That's right.
By the way, one more thing that the Vera Institute was asked to do for the city of New Orleans. We have a lot of these Hano properties that are being redone and tore down the old projects and putting up some nice mixed income homes. And the people that are living in the footprint of the old projects are enjoying relative safety today because of the way it works. If you get crime, you're out. They'll throw you out of there.
Right.
If the police are going to be showing up, you're gone. So the Vera Institute said that's not fair. And what they've done is they've gone in and said that you can no longer put a person out just because the police keep coming around, just because they keep causing problems in the neighborhood. So these neighborhoods that are enjoying relative safety, that are filling in with really good people and really good families, Vera wants the door open back up to what it used to be. And they say they're here to help. I don't think I understand that.
Nah. Once again, Brother Matt Dennis and Brother Charles Marshall.
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, thank y'all for coming in.
We thank you for
I can promise you that you guys, that's not going to be your last time.
Okay.
You know, y'all know where the studio is.
Yes, sir.
And just remember, next time you come in,
Yes.
put the phone on vibrate like you have to do, like your pastor tell you do your church. Like, I know your pastor taught you.
Hey.
Everybody put your phone on vibrate.
He's going to
One
talk
thing,
about me now.
We have an agreement. He gets to be salt. I get to be pepper, okay?
Ebony and Ivory.
Ebony and Ivory. Yeah. We appreciate the time that you've afforded us to talk to the multitude of people that you have out there.
Okay, and we're going to be once again playing this back for folks that then call everybody and say, you need to put it on 1510, 97.9. You need to put it on because they got a very, very important message for everybody today. They have, you know, people that's giving you this information that we really, really and truly need and know what direction we have to take. And it's A2INOLA.com.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, and you know, once again, I want to thank you guys for taking time out from your busy schedule to come in and be on with us. And Pastor, don't worry, I got the deacon from here on out. I got the deacon from here on out because when you come back to the studio, I'm gonna say now listen. You understand? Put the phone on vibrate
Like you do in church.
Now, if you don't put it on vibrate and you leave it on ring and it ring, unless Jesus is calling,
Yes.
you understand? Put it on vibrate. But Jesus called, let me talk to him. And once again, this is KAGY 1510 AM, 97.9 FM. I'm your host, Herman Magic Charles. And of course, we want to say once again, we appreciate Brother Matt and Brother Charles coming in, and they'll be back to give y'all an update on what's happening with this great program that they have. Until then, we're getting back to much more music. Pastor John P. Key come to sing now, Harvest Time.